Have you ever felt a chill run through you when you realized you were living like a hired servant to other people's emotions? Every phone notification is a lash of the whip that makes you flinch in fear. Every judgment from mediocre people is a knife wound. And you, instead of striking back, choose to smile and beg for approval. Society glorifies connection and openness. But Niccolo Machiavelli, the master of forbidden truths, would awaken you to a brutal reality. The one who leaves the doors of his heart too wide open will receive nothing but trampling footsteps. The distraction you indulge in every single day is the poison slowly killing your killer instinct, turning a potential warrior into an outdated commodity in the world's game of power. Do not seek comfort, because power is not meant for the weak. We are here to inherit Machiavelli's legacy, to turn his cold-blooded philosophy into a path of transformation, building a ruthless focus and a level of detachment that makes you invisible to every psychological attack, yet overwhelmingly present the moment you walk into any room. I will break down 6 ways to forge iron discipline and turn you into a diamond block that cannot be scratched by public opinion. Stay until the final second to claim the ultimate tool that will help you control the game without explaining yourself, without compromising. And do not forget to leave a scepter symbol in the comments if you are ready to bury the weak version of yourself and be reborn in authority. Ruthless truth. Let's be honest with each other for a moment. Just between you and me. Have you ever asked yourself why those men out there never stop talking about productivity and morning routines, yet their lives are still a mess of compromise? That is because they treat focus like a toy, while Machiavelli treated it like a weapon of survival. In this real world, your attention is the most expensive currency you possess. But look at yourself for a moment. You are spending it like a naive nouveau rich man, tossing a few coins into a pointless argument online, throwing away a handful on anxieties about people who dislike you, and scattering the rest on cheap pleasures designed to keep you trapped in dependence. Every philosophy of Machiavelli is meant only for those who understand that every second you lose to distraction is another moment you surrender power into someone else's hands. The untouchable man does not accumulate focus to become happier. He accumulates it to become dangerous. He treats his attention the way a marksman treats his last bullet, with extreme restraint, cold precision, and only pulling the trigger when the target is fully within his sights. The detachment we are about to discuss is the stillness of a storm waiting for the day it erupts. If you are still scattering your mind around like loose coins for the world to take, you are not growing. You are slowly committing positional suicide. But how do you reclaim those lost coins and forge them into a razor-sharp sword right now? We are going to go deep into the 3-layer structure of a man who cannot be defeated. I will break down everything from the way you isolate the mind to create terrifying focus, to the strategy of emotional detachment that allows you to stand firm against every form of manipulation, and finally to the system of iron discipline required to maintain the position of a king. Do not blink, because what you are about to hear will completely overturn the way you operate in this world. Cut off the need to react. Whoever still reacts is still being controlled. Turn the clock back to the year 1512 inches, Florence. Imagine that you are Niccolo Machiavelli. You are at the height of your power. Then, boom, the Medici return, and the Republic collapses. You are thrown into prison, tortured with ropes, until your shoulder bones nearly tear out of their sockets, then cast into a remote countryside like a piece of historical trash. In that situation, what would an ordinary man do? Scream, seek revenge in vain, or kill himself out of humiliation? But Machiavelli did not choose to react like a wounded beast. He chose to observe like a student of power. In the ashes of his ruined career, he stepped back, saw through the entire political chessboard, and wrote, "The Prince." He understood a chilling truth. The world will always try to crush you with collisions and blows. But the truly dangerous man is the one who never hands his mind over to the first reflex. Have you ever felt like a puppet when someone mocks you? Your face instantly burns. When someone does not reply to your message, you anxiously keep flipping your phone over like an addict going without a fix. My condolences, you are a slave. Most men out there treat hitting back immediately as pride, as strength of character. Wrong. That is the cowardice of a nervous system with no capacity for self-mastery. According to studies in behavioral psychology, when you react instantly under pressure, the amygdala in the brain takes control and throws you into the fight or flight state of a primitive primate. Machiavelli would call that the collapse of reason. Real power does not lie in the punch. It lies in the silence between impact and response. I call this the power delay. Whoever masters the rhythm of response holds control of the game. Do you want to become a cold-blooded Batman in Gotham? Or a clown like the Joker, who only knows how to scream for chaos? Look directly at this brutal truth. Every time you explain yourself when you are misunderstood, you are kneeling before someone else's approval. Every time you get angry over an insult, you are admitting that the other person has the power to wound you. It is ridiculous that so many men in their 20s in America today treat being true to their feelings as a guiding principle, when in reality they are nothing more than easy prey for social media algorithms and professional manipulators to build focus and discipline at a dangerous level. Start with the 1-0. Second rule: when a bad boss or a toxic person provokes you, do not open your mouth for the first 10 seconds under any circumstances. Look straight into their eyes without blinking, and keep your mind empty. Apply the raw data technique. Treat their words as nothing more than physical vibrations in the air, meaningless sound waves. Until you allow them to carry meaning, why would you let a mediocre person define your value? I have a challenge for you. A blood pact with your own future, starting today. When you face criticism or a situation that makes you want to explode, stay silent. Enjoy the other person's discomfort when they do not get the reaction they were expecting. That is the moment you take the reins of your life back. Will you choose to be a nice guy who is always ready to explain himself? Or will you choose to become a block of impenetrable steel? Leave this comment. I choose detachment as a commitment that you are sick of being pulled by the strings. Do not press like because you found this good. Press it because you are ready to bury the old weak version of yourself. Remember this: in this world, either you are the one holding the wheel, or you are the road that others step on. Let me know what you choose in the comments. Lock your goal onto a single axis. A scattered mind is easy prey for the world. Are you living like a broken radio speaker, trying to catch every kind of static signal from society? You are afraid of upsetting this coworker, afraid of falling behind that old friend, and worst of all, you want to please everyone, don't you? And what is the result? Your mind is scattered into 1,000 fragments, and in the eyes of the predators out there, you are nothing more than easy prey, easily led around by a single remark or a passing trend. Picture yourself standing on a football field right before the snap. The players and the crowd are screaming so loudly that the ground feels like it is shaking. The opponent in front of you keeps throwing out fakes. and the teammate beside you is yelling out extra signals that only add to the confusion. If, in that moment, you turn your head at every sound and glance at every baiting movement from the other side, you will get blindsided off the field the second the play begins. A great quarterback is not the man who hears everything, but the man who locks his eyes onto exactly one lane of movement. If your goal has not become a single living axis, anyone can pull you off course with a cheap emotion. But once you live in only one direction, the entire noisy world outside instantly turns into meaningless white noise. According to a study from Stanford University on cognitive psychology, the human brain cannot truly multitask. When you try to care about too many goals at once, cortisol, the stress hormone, spikes, while your problem-solving ability drops by more than 40%. Society wants you scattered because a scattered man is a man who is easy to control and easy to consume. Machiavelli taught that a sharp spear has only one point to pierce armor. A strong man also has only one axis of life. Remember, this focus is not about saying yes to the goal, but about saying no to 1,000 other pieces of trash. You think you are being kind when you agree to every invitation. No. You are being cowardly because you do not dare protect your own time. Apply the single axis principle right now. Every action, relationship, and thought you have from this moment on must revolve around one core only, either money, skill, or body. Every time a distraction appears, use this ruthless filter. Does this add even 1% to my life axis? If the answer is no, discard it without mercy. Do not explain. Do not apologize. Isolate your priority. Every morning when you wake up, instead of checking what everyone else is doing on Instagram, write down only one thing that must be completed for the day to count as successful. Just one. If you do not finish it, you have failed. No matter how many people you helped, I want you to ask yourself something this brutal. If you died tomorrow, would the criticism of those people out there still matter more than the fact that you had not completed your life's mission? Of course not. So, why are you letting some stranger online or some mediocre friend control your mood? This is the moment for you to sign a blood pact with yourself. Take a piece of paper and write down your single axis in capital letters. Look at it carefully. Everything else outside that sheet of paper, pointless drinking sessions, binge-worthy TV series, ambiguous relationships is noise and trash. Throw them into the garbage bin of your life. Comment below. Right now, I choose one life axis. This is not some meaningless online action. This is a declaration that from now on, you will no longer be easy prey for the world to tear apart. You are the hunter, and the hunter looks only at the throat of the target. Subscribe because you are sick of living like a nameless man being led around by the nose. Become untouchable from this moment on. Build iron rituals instead of relying on motivation. Inspiration is poison. Discipline is a weapon. Never gamble your career on the randomness of inspiration. Inspiration is the kind of sweet poison that makes you procrastinate, while discipline is cold, but precise. Weaponry. Instead of waiting for the right state, establish iron rituals. When action becomes instinct through rules that cannot be broken, you no longer need the voluntary cooperation of emotion to move forward. Welcome back to this podcast for those who want to dominate their own reality. And now, we are going to expose the truth about the thing the crowd out there continues to worship: motivation. Do you live by waiting until you feel inspired before you act? Waiting until you feel good before you train. Waiting until you feel mentally clear before you study. If that is how you live, then you are a slave to weather and mood. If it rains today and you feel sleepy, your career stops. If a text from your ex distracts you, your goal gets thrown into the trash. Do you feel any shame in letting such trivial variables control your destiny? Motivation is the cheap drug for the masses who love watching polished inspirational videos on TikTok and then still lying around like a corpse afterward. The ruler does not operate by emotion, he operates by ritual. Ritual lets you swing the sword, even when your soul is shattered into 1,000 pieces. Research in neuropsychology has proven that the self-control of willpower is a limited resource. If every morning you have to wrestle with yourself over whether you should work out or not, then you are burning your brain's energy on a meaningless battle. Conversely, when you establish an iron ritual, you are implementing a process of willpower automation. The brain shifts from the prefrontal cortex, where exhausting decisions are processed, to the basal ganglia, where unconscious habits are stored. At that point, discipline is no longer a burden. It becomes instinct, like breathing or blinking. You do not need to want to do it. You are simply doing it because it is the law. Remember Henry VII of England, who took the throne when the country had just been torn apart by the War of the Roses. He could not govern by inspiration, because a king who is strong only when he is in a good mood will lose the throne the moment the times change color. The way he held power did not lie in temporary bursts of fire, but in rebuilding order through systems, finance, and steady, cold control. A crown is not held by inspiration. It is held by rituals repeated until emotion no longer needs to agree. That is why real discipline always looks boring to the crowd. It is not flashy. It does not need excitement. But that dry consistency is the true skeleton of power. A man is the same way. When you work by your own laws instead of by your own mood, you begin to become difficult to break. So what is the solution for you? Or do you still want to continue being an oversized child who waits until he feels good before doing the work? Establish a martial law time block immediately. Set aside at least 3 hours every day as untouchable time, even if the sky falls, even if your girlfriend just left you, or your account gets cut in half. You still have to be at your desk at that exact second. Pair it with a small starting ritual, a sip of water, one fixed instrumental track, or simply putting on your headphones. That is the signal bell for the brain. Discipline hours have begun. Emotions, shut your mouth. Are you a warrior or a child? The warrior goes into battle because of command. The child goes outside to play because he feels like having fun. Machiavelli does not teach us how to feel happy. He teaches us how not to be destroyed. In this brutal world, the stability of a machine is always more frightening than the impulsiveness of a genius. Ask yourself this: are you building an empire? Or are you just playing pretend with your dreams? I challenge you, in the next 24 hours, establish one fixed time block and carry it out regardless of every scream from your body demanding rest. Sign this pact by commenting, "Discipline is my weapon." Subscribe to the channel because you are sick of being a slave to your own mood. Become untouchable by turning yourself into a machine of iron rituals. Are you ready to throw away the poison called inspiration? Or do you still want to keep waiting for a beautiful day that will never come? Impoverish your stimulation diet. Break the addiction to attention to own deep focus. Welcome back to the territory reserved for those who crave escape from the slavery of modern life. Just imagine this for a moment. You are a young prince who has just stepped into a dazzling royal court. Above you, the ceiling glitters with gold. Around you, banquet music drifts through the air. Fine wine overflows from every cup, and flattery never stops. Seductive glances, servants at every side, constantly bringing you new amusements to keep you busy, keep you smiling, and keep you growing weaker. At first, you proudly think that this is the privilege of power, the luxury enjoyed by those above others. But the longer you sit in that grand hall, the more you feel your mind wearing down, your will being torn into 100 pieces, until even a small sound is enough to make you flinch and turn. Does that feel familiar? That is exactly how a cunning court weakens its heir. They do not need to kill him with a knife. They only need to offer him too much stimulation. Your modern life is that grotesque court. Message. Social media notifications. 5-second videos. Cheap likes. And the craving to be noticed by someone. All of them are servants pouring more poisoned wine into your chamber. As long as you remain addicted to that artificial busyness, you will remain a fragile child forever, never touching the depth of a man who cannot be defeated. Do you think you are controlling your phone? No, that tiny screen is leading you around by the nose like an animal in a circus. You wake up and lunge for it as if your life depends on imaginary notifications. You fear the feeling of being left out. You fear not knowing how other people are living. And most disgustingly of all, you are addicted to the sensation of immediate feedback. Your mind is always in a state of hunger for outside stimulation, a craving for cheap dopamine that rots your ability to think independently. Research in neuropsychology has proven a brutal truth. When you are constantly absorbing high-intensity stimulation from social media, the brain falls into a state of rapid-fire reflex. The prefrontal cortex, the part responsible for deep focus and strategic decision-making, is numbed, making room for the limbic system to take over with its primitive emotional control. You are voluntarily castrating your own thinking ability in exchange for a few seconds of artificial excitement. Machiavelli once said that to rule effectively, a prince must know when to appear and when to withdraw. In the modern context, withdrawal means impoverishing your stimulation diet. Deep focus only appears in an environment poor in external noise. If you want your inner power to grow rich, you must let your surroundings grow poor. Do not live like a fool who leaves the door open to every gust of dust and wind from society. Apply airplane mode to your life immediately. Turn off every non-essential notification. This world will not collapse if you do not reply to a message for 4 hours. But your career absolutely will collapse if you cannot produce even 1 hour of real focus. Train yourself through white silence intervals. Spend at least 15 minutes every day sitting in complete silence, with no phone, no music, not even books or articles. Let your brain face primal boredom. That is how you train the muscle of willpower to endure stillness before stepping into the mental wars waiting for you out there. Are you controlling your phone? Or are you kneeling before it, begging for a little feeling of being seen? Look in the mirror and ask yourself that question. A high-value man is never someone who is easily accessible or easily disturbed. Detachment begins the moment you dare to give up the crowd's attention to possess the focus of a killer. Remember this. Machiavelli did not glorify blind kindness. He glorified ruthless effectiveness. And nothing is more ruthless than cutting with your own hands the dopamine strings that are keeping you bound. I challenge you right now. Leave your phone in another room for the next 2 hours of work. Observe the craving, the restlessness, even the trembling of your brain when it is deprived of its stimulant wine. That is when you will see just how pitiful you have become. Crush that craving. Comment below. I choose silence to sign the commitment to break your addiction to attention. Become untouchable by impoverishing the outer world so you can enrich the empire within. Will you choose to be the awakened prince? Or will you keep getting drunk on the banquet music of distraction? The answer lies in what you do over the next 2 hours. Build absolute psychological borders. Power lies in knowing when to close the door. A nation without borders will soon be invaded, and a mind without boundaries will suffer the same fate. Detachment is not emotional numbness, but the ability to close the doors of your heart and intellect to unnecessary noise. Power lies in knowing how to say no and establish forbidden zones that no one is allowed to cross. Once psychological boundaries are in place, you become untouchable in the face of every outside influence. Take a hard look at the way you are running your life. You are leaving the doors of your inner world wide open for anyone to walk in and trample over. From the co-worker who loves to complain to strangers on social media, posting garbage comments, you value everyone's opinion the same way. From a respected mentor to someone who has nothing to do with your life. That cowardice disguised as being approachable is turning you into an empty lot where the world comes to dump its trash. A careless remark wounds you easily, and a single rejection can ruin your entire workday. Why? Because you have no borders. A country without borders is a country on the verge of destruction, and a man without psychological boundaries is one of the easiest men in the world to destroy. You are turning yourself into a moving target, a harmless figure anyone can reach into and use to manipulate your emotions. It is humiliating to watch so many young men today take pride in being sensitive and able to understand every point of view, when in truth they are nothing more than fortresses without walls. And anyone who passes by can leave a dirty footprint on their beliefs. Go back to history and learn how a true master operated. Niccolo Machiavelli spent a great deal of time observing Cesare Borgia. The Duke he regarded as the clearest model of a man who understood the core of power. Borgia was not the kind of man who opened himself to everyone in the hope of receiving cheap affection. On the contrary, he operated like a supreme military architect of his own inner world. He always knew exactly who was allowed to stand close enough to hear the core secrets, who was only permitted to remain in the hallway and receive orders, and who needed to be cut off completely from the circle of influence at once. Borgia understood a truth that modern men are deliberately forgetting. Power is not only your ability to influence the world, but more importantly, your ability to limit the world's influence over you. An inner life without borders resembles Rome before the Renaissance, a mess of invasions and decay. But a man who knows how to lock the gate at the right moment will never treat every knock from a stranger as a psychological crisis. Psychological borders do not make you cold for no reason, nor do they turn you into some deranged recluse. They help you preserve your clarity for the right people and the right matters that are actually worthy of it. In social psychology, there is a concept called emotional contagion. When you have no boundaries, the mirror neurons in your brain automatically begin copying the negative states of the people around you. If you sit next to a failure who constantly complains, your brain will begin releasing cortisol as if you yourself were in trouble. This is why Machiavelli emphasized the careful selection of one's inner guard. You cannot become untouchable if you keep allowing people carrying the virus of failure into your workspace. The deeper reason you are afraid to build walls is your fear of isolation, an outdated herd instinct from prehistoric times, when being cast out of the tribe meant death. But in the modern world, isolation is a necessary stage of maturity for those who want to rise to the top. I want to introduce you to a principle I call the Machiavellian wall. You must classify and label every person who gains access to you with the greatest ruthlessness possible. Divide your world into 3 distinct border levels. Level 1, core. This space is reserved only for absolute trust. The number of people here must be extremely small, perhaps only counted on one hand, or even no one other than yourself. Level 2, social. This is the buffer zone. You exchange information. You work together, but you never share your emotions or your weaknesses. They may see your smile, but they must never see your scars. Level 3, strangers and enemies. With this level, you must carry out total invisibilization. Their words carry no weight. Their existence occupies not a single byte of data in your brain. They may scream outside the wall, but inside the fortress, you are still calmly sipping the wine of deep focus. Apply the technique of icy diplomacy. Learn how to refuse and say no without attaching a long explanation or a self-lowering apology. The strong do not explain. If an invitation does not serve your single axis, shake your head. When someone deliberately invades your private space with rude questions or unreasonable demands, look them straight in the eye and remain silent until they become uncomfortable. Silence is the strongest brick wall of all. Do not be afraid of being seen as hard to approach. In this world, the hard-to-approach person is the high-value person, because their presence is not some cheap commodity that anyone can touch. Do you see Elon Musk or the world's top billionaires explaining themselves to every person screaming on Twitter, or do they simply carry out their will behind closed doors? Now ask yourself, with brutal honesty, why am I allowing someone insignificant, a nosy neighbor, an old friend I have not seen in years, or a stranger online to have the power to ruin my entire workday and my mood? Do you see how pathetic that is? You are handing over the scepter that governs your life to people who do not even deserve a seat in the audience, let alone the right to step onto the stage. This harsh truth is the poison that wakes you up. You are not being a good person when you let others trample over your boundaries. You are simply being a weak person with no identity. I have a challenge for you right now. Identify one person or one group of people who are disturbing your mind, draining your energy through negativity or pointless demands. Close the border on them from this very moment. Block them, ignore them, or establish an icy diplomatic barrier. Do not look for excuses to defend them. Sign the pact to protect your inner territory by commenting, "My borders are untouchable." Remember Machiavelli's words, "It is better to be feared than loved," if you cannot be both. And the first step toward being feared is making other people understand that they have no right to enter your world without permission. Will you choose to be an abandoned city trampled by invading armies, or an iron fortress the whole world is forced to respect? The answer lies in the door. You are about to close the moment this video ends. Train yourself under pressure. Real discipline reveals itself only through impact. Discipline forged in an air-conditioned room is nothing but an illusion. The true nature of a warrior only reveals itself when he is forced to face impact and adversity. Do not run from pressure. Treat it as a laboratory for testing the endurance of your will. When you place yourself in harsh situations and still maintain your focus, you are forging a kind of strength that no challenge will ever be able to break. Look at most people out there. They think they are strong. They think they are disciplined. When everything is going smoothly, they wake up early when the weather is nice. They go to the gym when their bodies are full of energy, and they work when their bank account is comfortable. But the moment something goes wrong, a bad boss humiliates them, an investment fails, or even just a sudden rainstorm arrives, that entire sandcastle of discipline collapses instantly. They quit. They lose focus. And they begin singing the old song of blaming circumstances. Do you see yourself in that? That kind of discipline that only exists under ideal conditions is not worth a single cent. It is nothing but a thin coat of paint hiding a weak soul. Steel is forged in red fire, not in cool water. Invincibility is the ability to hold your standard even while the world around you is falling apart. From the perspective of evolutionary psychology, human beings naturally seek safety and stability. However, studies on psychological resilience show that controlled exposure to hormetic stress is exactly what activates the brain's mechanism for extraordinary growth. When you force yourself to operate under pressure, norepinephrine levels rise, pushing your neural pathways to connect more tightly to maintain alertness. Machiavelli understood this clearly. A ruler who has not been trained in hardship will lose his throne the very first moment the enemy touches the city walls. So change your mindset and begin treating pressure as a privilege. It is a free gym where you can train the muscles of discipline that no amount of money can buy. Whenever you are under pressure, remember the fable of the oak tree and the reed. The oak is huge, solid, and arrogant, always convinced that its strength will remain unchanged before the wind. The reed is thin and humble, but when the real storm arrives, the oak snaps in half because it is too rigid, while the reed survives because it has already been trained to endure pressure. The lesson here is not that you should become weak, but that you must be trained under real pressure. Many people look impressive on sunny days, like the oak, but a single insult or an unexpected setback is enough to split their discipline in two. The untouchable man is not the one who has never had a storm strike him in the face. He is the one who has allowed himself to be forged through impact so many times that pressure no longer changes the structure of his actions. At that point, the challenge no longer exposes his weakness. It only reveals how hardened he has become. So what are you going to do? Keep hiding inside your comfort zone? Or step outside and receive the slaps of reality? Start seeking out discomfort on purpose. Force yourself to do the things you hate most at the moment when you are most exhausted. Just got home from work. Drained. Clean your room completely before you sit down. You are at the gym and want to quit on the final set. Do 2 more sets in pain. That is how you teach your brain who the real master is. When something unexpected happens, instead of panicking and scrambling to handle it, force yourself to complete the small goal you had already set beforehand. Show the whole world that your rhythm is not controlled by the chaos outside you. If you are only kind when other people are kind, then you have no identity. If you are only disciplined when you feel good, then you are just a child playing pretend. Untouchable is reserved only for those who have walked through hell without being deformed by it. The next time you feel extreme pressure, get humiliated, or face failure, do not complain. Smirk and tell yourself, the training begins now. Treat it as a gift fate has set aside to harden you. Sign this steel commitment by commenting, "I am forged in fire." It is time to step out of the air-conditioned room and face the storm, so you can see whether you are truly a rotten oak tree or a block of steel that cannot be broken. Conclusion: we have walked together through the darkest corners of the mind, where focus is no longer some ordinary office skill, but the armor of a king. Remember this in Machiavelli's philosophy. Power does not come from shouting or display. It comes from your ability to stand firm in the middle of a chaotic crowd without allowing a single emotional string to manipulate you. When you master detachment and iron discipline, the world will naturally step aside for you. Not because people admire you, but because they cannot find a single opening through which to attack. But theory will remain nothing more than dead words if you do not step out there and begin forging the sword. I want you to be honest with yourself right now. What distraction has been strangling your position all this time? Share your story or one truth you have just realized in the comments below. This is not just a line of text, but the first commitment to shedding the shell of the sheep and putting on the instinct of the fox. The journey toward becoming untouchable has only just begun, and the price of greatness is solitude within discipline. If you crave more practical lessons to help you master this game, hit subscribe and join the community of those who dare to look truth in the face. Do not just watch. Evolve. I will see you again in the position of a true king.